The storm raged. Waves crashed against the shore with the fury of 1,000 drums.
Ayaan, a young man with eyes as deep as the ocean itself, watched from his porch, mesmerized by the raw power of the sea.
The girl, Meera, was a whirlwind of energy, her laughter echoing the storm's cry. He helped her pull down the kite, their fingers brushing. In that brief touch, a spark ignited, as wild and untamed as the storm around them.
Ayaan, normally shy, found himself drawn to her infectious laughter and untamed spirit.
Meera, usually a social butterfly, felt an unusual shyness under his intense gaze.
The storm raged on, but for them, the world had shrunk to this small patch of beach, their connection as tangible as the wind whipping around them. The storm subsided, leaving behind a sense of calm and the salty tang of the sea. Ayaan and Meera walked along the beach, their earlier encounter hanging in the air between them.
He was a man of few words, content to listen to the rhythm of the waves and the sound of her voice.
She, a storyteller at heart, filled the silence with tales of her dreams and aspirations.
Ayaan, who dreamt of capturing the world's beauty on canvas, found his muse in Meera's free spirit.
Meera, who yearned to explore the world beyond their small coastal town, saw a kindred spirit in Ayaan's quiet intensity.
They were a study in contrasts. He the anchor to her kite, she the wind beneath his wings. Their differences, however, only served to strengthen their bond. Neither could have known that life, like the tide, had its own plans, and soon their world would be turned upside down. A letter arrived, crisp and official, bearing the insignia of a prestigious Parisian art school. Meera's joy knew no bounds. This scholarship, a testament to her talent and unwavering dedication, was her ticket to a world beyond their small town. But her joy was tinged with a bittersweet ache. Paris, a world away from Ayaan and their shared dreams.
Ayaan, ever selfless, pushed down his own anxieties, his happiness for her evident in his eyes.
Meera, torn between her aspirations and the fear of losing Ayaan, clung to his reassurances like a lifeline.
The days leading up to Meera's departure were a blur of shared silences and unspoken anxieties. He promised to wait, his love unwavering, his words etched in her heart. She promised to return, her voice thick with unshed tears, her heart heavy with the fear of a future without him. The day she left, the sky wept with her. He stood there, a solitary figure against the storm-tossed sea, his love a constant in her ever-changing world. Paris was everything Meera had ever dreamed of, a city that throbbed with life, art, and a million untold stories. She dove headfirst into her studies, her talent blossoming under the tutelage of renowned artists. Yet, amidst the grandeur of Parisian life, a part of her remained tethered to her small coastal town, to Ayaan. Their only solace was their letters.
Meera's letters were a riot of colors, filled with vivid descriptions of her Parisian life.
Ayaan's letters were like him, quiet and profound.
Their letters were a lifeline, a tangible connection in a world that threatened to pull them apart.
They lived for those letters, finding solace in the written word, their love transcending time and distance. As months turned into years, a subtle shift occurred in their correspondence.
Meera's letters, once overflowing with unfettered joy, became laced with a tinge of melancholy.
The success she had craved felt hollow without Ayaan to share it with.
He wrote of his unwavering love, of his belief in their shared future.
His letters, once filled with the quiet murmur of the sea, now echoed with a silent plea for her return.
He wrote of the life they had envisioned, of the home they would build, of the family they would have.
The weight of their unspoken anxieties, the distance that stretched between them like a chasm, began to take its toll. The words, once filled with hope, now carried the burden of their unspoken fears. Then the letters stopped.
Meera, caught in the whirlwind of her newfound success, found herself distancing herself from the life she had left behind.
The guilt gnawed at her, but the allure of the Parisian art scene proved too strong to resist.
Ayaan, his heart heavy with a premonition he couldn't ignore, wrote letter after letter, each one filled with a desperate plea for a response.
He wrote of his fears, his anxieties, his desperate need to hear from her, to know she was okay.
But his letters remained unanswered, his words lost in the void that had grown between them.
The vibrant young man, full of dreams and aspirations, was replaced by a shadow of his former self. Time, they say, heals all wounds. But for Ayaan, time had merely dulled the sharp edges of his pain, leaving behind a constant ache.
He poured his energy into his art, his canvases reflecting the depth of his emotions, his pain transforming into breathtaking masterpieces.
His talent, once hidden in the shadows of his small town, couldn't be ignored.
Recognition followed, his name whispered in art circles, his work displayed in galleries across the country.
He had achieved his dreams, yet a part of him remained tethered to the past.
He had loved and lost, but the experience had shaped him, his heart bearing the scars of a love that had burned bright, but ultimately faded away.
Paris had given Meera everything she thought she ever wanted. Success, recognition, a life less ordinary. She had blossomed into a renowned artist, her canvases a reflection of her experiences, her talent undeniable. Yet, amidst the glittering facade of her success, a persistent emptiness lingered.
The memory of Ayaan, of our shared dreams, of the love that had once consumed me, haunted my waking hours.
One day, amidst the cacophony of a Parisian art exhibition, she stumbled upon a familiar name, Ayaan. His name, displayed prominently beside a breathtaking seascape, stopped her in her tracks.
In that moment, surrounded by my success, I realized the hollowness of my achievements.
The small coastal town welcomed her back with open arms. The years had painted wrinkles on familiar faces, the salt air leaving its mark on buildings and lives. She walked along the familiar beach, the sand still bearing the imprints of their shared laughter, the waves whispering tales of their love.
I found him at our spot, the place where it all began.
Ayaan. He stood there, a solitary figure against the backdrop of the setting sun, his presence a tangible reminder of a love that had defied time and distance. He had aged gracefully, the weight of his experiences evident in his eyes. Yet there was a stillness about him, a sense of peace that transcended the passage of time. His art gallery was a testament to his journey, his canvases a visual representation of his love, his loss, his resilience. She walked through the gallery, each painting a window into his soul, his emotions laid bare for the world to see.
Then I saw it, my portrait, painted years ago yet frozen in time, capturing my youthful exuberance, my laughter echoing through the brushstrokes.
She looked at her younger self through his eyes, the love in his every stroke, a tangible reminder of what they had shared. He found her there, standing in front of her portrait, her eyes mirroring the emotions swirling on the canvas.
Their eyes met, a silent conversation passing between them.
He looked at her, his eyes filled with a mixture of emotions, surprise, longing, a flicker of the old love that had never truly faded.
You came back.
I did.
They stood there for a moment, their eyes locked in a silent conversation, the years of separation fading away.
Let's walk.
Taking a step closer, she reached for his hand, her fingers brushing against his. The warmth of his touch sent a jolt through her, a familiar current that defied time and circumstance.
As they walked, they talked.
They talked of art, of life, of the dreams that had brought them together and the choices that had pulled them apart. They didn't speak of forever, but as they walked hand in hand, silhouetted against the setting sun, they knew that their story, like the endless waves, was far from over.